Hey everybody, Brady here, welcome back to another tournament game analysis video. Today we're going to be covering a new tournament, Mississauga Spring, which was an under 2100 section. So, this is round one. I'm playing against Eric, who is one of the highest rated opponents in the field, 1971. Oh boy. Let's hope that I can do okay here. But we gotta find out by actually playing. So, I'm playing with the black pieces. They play e4. I play c5, they play knight f3, I play d6, and then they play the annoying bishop b5 check. And actually, because of this game alone, no, just because I said that, and because I say what I'm about to say doesn't mean it gets the result you're thinking of. Just because of this game alone, honestly, not just this game, actually, this line is very annoying, so I think I want to switch my move orders. So anyone that wants to prepare against me, I do not care. I think I'm going to play knight c6 here from now on. And the idea is if they want to play bishop e5, it's a Roslimo instead of a Moscow. Just because it's a little bit more like, there's more play in the position than what we get. So d6, bishop e5 check. I play bishop d7, bishop takes. I end up taking with the knight here. Castles, knight gf6, queen e2, and now I go e6. We see c4. They don't play d4, which is like, this is also a fine move. This looks very reasonable. Bishop e7, something like c4, and like castles. Looks good. It looks like white gets a slighted edge from this actually, which isn't something I'm super happy about. But okay, c4. I go bishop e7. We see knight c3. And then I castle. They go b3. Like, they're just preventing d4 for a little bit. And I was considering knight e5 here, actually. I don't know why I didn't play it. This looks very, very reasonable. And the idea is if they ever take, then yeah, good luck ever getting d4. They have to go for like f4 here. But I'm happy, extremely happy about that actually. Just because, well, now there's an imbalance in the structure, and it feels like if they try to go for an like a Maroczy, then their e4 pawn will be weak. So this is like a dream come true. I play a6 instead. They go bishop b2, and now I go knight e5, and it's the same idea where if they take it, now it might even be a little bit better for them, because they can go like e5 for example here, without having to worry as much about queen d4 check situations. But yeah, this is also something I wouldn't be too upset about either. They go rook a d1 instead. I go queen e8. This is just a funny little move. So I want to reroute my piece to c6, my queen. And I'm also trying to trade off some pieces because it's a Maroczy. It's going to turn into a Maroczy position. They're going to have to play d4 eventually. They're going to have to fold and play it. And if they do, then I want to make sure that I have, well, my queen on... I thought my queen would be good on c6. And also this has the not so subtle threat of a potential b5. So also getting out of the pin is nice because now I don't have to worry about d takes c5 where the rook and the queen are on the same diagonal. They go a4. I go queen c6. I didn't have to do this. I could have played actually knight fd7. And funnily enough, their best move is knight b1, queen b8, and then d4. Which is kind of funny, and the idea is like takes, and they have to play g takes, funnily enough. Apparently queen takes b5, yeah, so apparently the engine thinks like that's such a thing we have to worry about, because b5 is generally what you want to play against the Maroczy, that it's just worth it to go into this. And then also of course bishop f6. But okay, I went queen c6 instead. So d4 I took, of course, takes, and then I took on d4. I can't really allow d5 comfortably. I was not looking forward to that. So I end up taking, rook takes d4, and then rook fd8. I would love to play b5 as soon as possible. It's just not quite easy yet. Rook ft1, I go knight e8 here, which is actually just not correct. They have moves like rook d3 and then bishop a3 coming, which is actually a problem. Instead here, I should go knight d7, with the idea of meeting bishop a3 with knight c5, which is actually a big difference. b4, important to mention that we can actually take on a4, which is nice, because this does not win because of queen takes c3. But we're going to see some similar things where they can like play b4 or b5 if I take on a4. Okay, knight e8, which is pretty passive. My idea was bishop f6. They played rook 4 d3, natural move. Bishop f6. They should play bishop a3 here, actually. They played queen g4. And I was a little worried because like there could be like weird discovery threats if I move my knight. Which is kind of funny. Like if I go knight c7, there's knight d5. This is something I saw, and I was worried about that because this is a natural move, but knight d5 just wins. So I go queen b7 or queen b6 instead, attacking b3. They go rook 1 to d2. I can't take again because knight d5 is pretty good. Turns out that this is actually something we can do. Supposedly this is equal after queen takes d3. I don't know who in their right mind would go for this. And yeah, if like takes or something, now bishop takes b2. So they should like, looks like taking on f6. But take on f6. And then we can like take on d4 or e4. I like taking on e4 more than c4. But apparently this is losing. We have to take on c4. And then play rook e8. Yeah, this is the line that's given, which is nuts. Okay, sure. I just play queen c5 because I know that I can't really take on b3, at least because like when you see knight d5, if you move your queen anywhere else and don't take on d3, then it just doesn't make sense. And of course, queen takes d3 with that line, like I'm not gonna see that. So I play queen c5. Now we see rook g3, which I'm not really concerned about, and I was immediately considering b5. And I'm kind of sad that I didn't go for it, because it works. It just works. Knight d5 doesn't work. We can take in time, and after it takes, we can just take the knight, because g7's covered by our knight. Alright, so b5 is playable, but it's easy to miss. Let's cover it. b5, one thing that I did see was if c takes, a takes, they can't take with a knight because I can take on b2. This is just a free piece because they can't take back because queen c1 will be mate. I'll just show that. Queen d1, and then I'll take it with mate. Sure, not hard. A takes was something I was struggling a little bit more to see because, well, I did see that knight takes, there's bishop takes b2 again, and we win because they can't capture back because rook a1 instead. But after it takes, what if they take like this? And that's what I was struggling with seeing, because we can't really take on c3. They can just take back because the rook is actually defending it, and I didn't see a purpose behind this. We should play this, but we don't take on c3 actually. Instead, what we should do here is we should just play like a rook dc8, and we should just build on the pressure, and this b5 pawn is extremely weak. And we can just take advantage of that by playing like this. And also knight a4, good to mention, queen takes b5 is fine. We're chilling. We don't have to worry about bishop takes on f6 because we have rook c1, and then we can take it and then take back on f6. So here, rook c1 looks good to me. Rook d1 takes. At the very least, we have this to defend. We actually have more if we go h5, funnily enough. h5 is a really strong move where they are just like forced to sacrifice now, which is really surprising, because if they go queen g5, then rook c1 check actually just wins because rook takes d1 mate. Okay, so instead of b5, I go for g6 here, and the problem is with g6 that there could be potential troubles on the diagonal now that everything's a little bit less defended. My idea here was that there's no pressure on the g file anymore, but there's still other problems that can occur. And b5 was just much more active. This is less active. My opponent plays king h1. And now b5 is even better. b5 actually offers an advantage for us, because now there's even more issues with the back rank, and g6 is just a nicer addition to have, which is great. If we look at the same variations, so c takes, they can never take with a knight no matter what. Takes, and now rook dc8 or queen b4. Rook dc8 looks pretty reasonable. And we enter these types of positions again like queen b4, and they kind of just struggle to maintain everything. Like rook a7 is being suggested for us. Rook c7 as well, mainly with the idea of bringing both rooks to the c file and trying to target this knight. Because if the knight ever moves, we can take on b2, and most likely we're going to end up playing rook a1 and just like winning the queen at this point. So king h1, not really the best move. Alright, so I didn't see that. I played bishop g7, just protecting the bishop even more. And now I'm ready to go b5 in my mind. But they play rook gd3. And now I thought that b5 wasn't as good, because I thought that they can take with the knight now. Takes, if takes here takes and then knight takes. I missed that this actually does still work, because after bishop takes b2, if rook takes b2, we can play queen c1 check and actually just pick up the rook. So unfortunately I missed that. Instead, rook a c8, they played h3 here to get some luft, and now there's no more tactical reasons why b5 would work, which is unfortunate. I played rook c7, expecting queen d1, honestly, because now they can just start piling up on the d-pawn, and this is definitely worse for me. f4, rook c to d7, we see queen f3, and now I gotta go for b5 again. I just keep not going for b5, which is unfortunate. And now it's like something we're a little bit less happy about. We still have d5 at the end, that's the idea. But of course this is not really a dream come true as opposed to before. Like queen e3 is, like, this is suggested. Where we enter a position just like a pure pawn down. And then we play like rook c8. And the pawn probably will drop, but this is clearly not something we were hoping for from the start. So I played knight c7 instead. Not really the greatest move. Queen d1 and things are pretty rough. My opponent plays bishop c1. And again, I have b5. I just keep not playing b5. Because now if they ever try to take it, like, okay, b5, if they take with the a pawn, I can take back. And like now if they ever take with the knight, I can just take it, because, well, c1 is actually just hanging. So I don't know why I didn't go for this at this point. Instead I played queen b4, trying to take advantage of the b3 pawn. This makes no sense, because now knight a2 comes. Queen a5. And bishop a3. And now I'm just lost. I have to go really passive with bishop f8. I didn't really see another choice. Turns out d5 is probably a better chance, but that should just lose a pawn. Bishop to b4 was played. Queen b6. And my opponent played queen d1. They actually have c5 here. And this is actually just over, pretty much. Like queen c6, they can just take. And then they can end up playing e5, funnily enough. And I can't defend everything. I just can't do it. Like, if I have to take on b4, but then they take on c6. And then takes on d7, takes on d7 again, right? And I'm an exchange down. But they didn't play that. They played queen d1. So I play queen c6, getting out of c5. And if they play c5 or play e5, then I'm planning d5. They play bishop a3. Now it feels like I've had some wind in my sails, because it just hangs e4. So I took it. They took on d6. I took back with the rook. I'm just hoping to trade everything at this point. Rook takes, bishop takes, queen takes. And I realized, yeah, I can just go queen b1 check, take a2. They take c7 and I take b3. And they're the ones that have to force the draw because I'm up a pawn and everything's defended. That's what happens. Queen b1 check, king h2, queen takes a2, queen takes c7, queen takes b3. And my opponent, I offer a draw, I think, here. And my opponent just goes for the repetition instead. And after queen d8 check, we agreed to a draw because it's a repetition. So this was an interesting game. One thing that I learned from this is I'm very hesitant to make pawn breakthroughs, like b5. There were so many times where this is like the top move or like only move, would even give me an advantage in some cases, and I just wouldn't do it. And I think that shows that I needed to work a lot more on my pawn play. So yeah, that's gonna cover it for the game. Ended up in a draw. Not the worst result. My opponent was over 100 points higher rated than me, so it's nice. And that's going to be it. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all in round number 2. Have a good one. Bye-bye.